Emma Ellis had been coming to the same corner cafe for 3 years. It wasn't fancy, just mismatched chairs, chipped mugs, and windows that fogged up when it rained. But the light fell perfectly across the back table in the afternoons, and that's where she did her best work. Sketching children's book illustrations paid the bills barely, but it was hers. The work mattered to her in a way nothing else ever had. That Saturday, the cafe was packed. Emma had claimed her usual spot early, spreading out her sketchbook and colored pencils like always. She was halfway through a drawing of a little fox in a raincoat when she noticed them, a man about her age, maybe 35, holding the hand of a girl who couldn't have been more than 6. They stood near the doorway, scanning for seats that didn't exist. The girl's face was pressed against her father's leg, peeking out at the crowded room with wide, uncertain eyes. Emma watched them for a moment. The man looked tired in a way she recognized, not from one bad night, but from months of them. He bent down, whispered something to his daughter, and she nodded but didn't move. They were about to leave when Emma heard herself speak up. "Excuse me," she called out, louder than she meant to. "You can share this table if you want. I don't need all this space." The man looked surprised, then grateful. He guided his daughter over, and they settled into the chairs across from Emma. Up close, she could see the girl had paint stains on her sleeves and tangled blonde hair that needed a brush. The man extended his hand. "I'm Michael," he said. "This is Lily." "Thank you. Really." Emma shook his hand and smiled at Lily, who was staring at the fox drawing. "I'm Emma, and no problem. It's too nice a day to spend it standing." Lily whispered something to her dad, and Michael smiled softly. "She wanted to know if you drew that." "I did," Emma said, turning the sketchbook toward Lily. "Do you like to draw?" Lily nodded, finally meeting Emma's eyes. Michael ordered them hot chocolate and a muffin to share, and while he was at the counter, Lily leaned forward. "My mom used to draw," she said quietly, "but she's gone now." Emma's chest tightened. She didn't know what to say, so she just nodded. When Michael returned, he caught the tail end of the silence and gave Emma an apologetic look. "She's honest about it," he said, sitting down. "We've been on our own for about 1.5 years. It's just us now." Emma didn't pry. She didn't ask how or why. Instead, she slid a blank piece of paper toward Lily and offered her a pencil. "Want to draw something with me?" For the next hour, the 3 of them sat there. Lily drew a house with a crooked door and too many windows. Michael sipped his coffee and watched his daughter with a tenderness that made Emma's throat ache. They talked in bits and pieces. Small things, easy things. Michael worked in tech, but didn't say much about it. Emma told him about her illustrations, about the stories she helped bring to life for kids who needed magic in their hands. When they finally stood to leave, Lily tugged on her dad's sleeve and whispered again. Michael laughed, a real one this time. "She wants to know if we can see you again," he said, a little embarrassed. We don't really do this. Meet new people, I mean." Emma felt something warm spread through her chest. "I'm here most Saturdays," she said. Same table. They came back the next week, and the week after that. It became a routine neither of them planned, but both of them needed. Lily would bring her coloring books, and Emma would bring extra supplies. Michael would sit across from them, working on his laptop or just watching, contributing jokes that made Lily giggle and roll her eyes. One afternoon, Michael suggested they go to the park instead. It was April, and the trees were starting to bloom. Lily ran ahead to the swings, and Emma and Michael walked slowly behind her. "She's happier," Michael said, his voice low, "since we started seeing you. I didn't realize how much she needed this." Emma glanced at him. "I think I needed it too." They started spending more time together. The library on Tuesday evenings. Ice cream on Fridays after Lily got out of school. Michael told her more about his life. How he'd built a startup from nothing. How it had taken off faster than he ever imagined. And how none of it mattered the day his wife collapsed at the grocery store and never woke up. He told her about the guilt he carried. The fear that he wasn't enough for Lily. That he'd never be both parents at once. Emma told him about her own loneliness. How she'd spent years convincing herself that solitude was the same as independence. How she'd stopped letting people in because it felt safer that way. But this, she said one night, after Lily had fallen asleep on Michael's couch during a movie, this doesn't feel scary. Michael looked at her for a long moment. No, he said softly, it doesn't. The shift between them happened gradually. Then all at once, a hand held a little too long, a laugh that lingered in the air, the way Michael looked at her when he thought she wasn't paying attention, the way Emma started thinking about him at night, wondering if he felt it too. One rainy afternoon in June, they were back at the cafe. Lily was drawing again, humming to herself, and Michael reached across the table and took Emma's hand. I don't know what I'm doing, he admitted. I haven't done this since before, but I know I don't want to lose this. Lose you. Emma squeezed his hand. You won't. It was Lily who brought them even closer. She started asking Emma for help with her art projects, and Emma realized she had a gift for teaching that she'd never explored. She started offering informal art lessons for kids in the neighborhood, just a few hours a week in her tiny apartment. Word spread. Parents called. Soon she had a waiting list. Michael was proud of her in a way that felt different from anything she'd known. He didn't try to fix things or take over. He just supported her, believed in her, showed up. By the time fall arrived, the three of them had their own rhythms. Friday night pizza, Sunday morning pancakes, bedtime stories that Emma would illustrate, while Michael read aloud. Lily started calling her Emma Mom by accident one night, then looked horrified. But Emma just smiled and kissed the top of her head. It's okay, she whispered. I like it. Michael proposed on a snowy evening in December, in the same cafe where they'd met. Lily helped him pick out the ring, a simple band with a small stone that caught the light just right. Emma said yes before he even finished asking. They didn't have a big wedding, just the three of them, a judge, and a handful of close friends. Lily wore a white dress and carried a bouquet of daisies. Emma wore her mother's necklace and cried during the vows. Michael had told her early on that he ran a successful company, that money wasn't something they'd ever have to worry about. But Emma didn't love him for that. She loved him because he made her coffee the way she liked it, without asking, because he listened when she talked about her work, because he looked at his daughter like she was the sun itself. And Lily had given her something she didn't know she was missing, a reason to come home. A reason to stay. 2 years later, Emma stood in the doorway of what used to be Michael's house and was now theirs. She watched Lily, now 8, show her art to a room full of kids who'd come for Emma's Saturday morning class. The living room had been transformed into a studio, with easels and paint supplies and laughter filling every corner. This was her work now, teaching children to see the world through color and imagination. Her illustration career hadn't disappeared. It had just expanded into something bigger, something that fed her soul in ways she never expected. Michael walked up behind her and wrapped his arms around her waist. You made this, he said quietly. All of it. Emma leaned back against him. We made this. That evening, after the kids had gone home and Lily was in bed, the three of them piled onto the couch like they always did. Lily was squeezed between them, her head on Emma's shoulder, her feet on her dad's lap. They were watching an old movie, something silly that made Lily laugh until she snorted. Emma? Lily said during a quiet moment. Yes, sweetheart. Do you remember the day we met you? At the cafe? Emma smiled. Of course I do. Dad says you saved us that day. Lily looked up at her with those serious eyes. Is that true? Emma felt her throat tighten. She looked at Michael, who was watching her with that same tender expression he'd worn since the beginning. She thought about the woman she'd been 2 years ago, lonely, careful, convinced she was better off alone. She thought about how one small choice, one moment of generosity, had unlocked a life she never imagined possible. I think, Emma said softly, brushing Lily's hair back, we save each other. Lily seemed satisfied with that answer. She snuggled closer and closed her eyes. Michael reached over and took Emma's hand, the way he'd done that rainy afternoon in the cafe, the way he still did every single day. Outside, snow was starting to fall again. Inside, the house was warm and full of the life they'd built together. Emma closed her eyes and let herself feel it. All of it. The gratitude, the belonging, the simple, overwhelming truth that sometimes love finds you in the most ordinary moments when you're just trying to make space for someone else. That table she'd shared on a crowded Saturday afternoon hadn't just given her new friends. It had given her everything. A family, a purpose, a home in the truest sense of the word. And every single day, she was grateful she'd spoken up.